Yo, what are you, Gersonzero? You know what I miss? I miss coming home from Funko Land and my good old-fashioned mom and pop store, Game World, which, by the way, I've been repping from the 90s till this very day, which is an awesome thing. Coming home from those epic stores, popping in an RPG into my PS1 or Sega Saturn, and just viewing a beautifully hand-drawn animated intro. An intro that basically tells you, are you ready for this 40 to 80 hour quest? And you know what my answer was every time I saw that? Hell fucking yes, I'm ready for that. Let's do this right now. Sadly, we don't get much of that today on home consoles, but I'm gonna go ahead and discuss some of the animated intros that move me till this day, and personally some of my favorite animated intros in RPG history. So let's go ahead and do this. What is it that's so appealing about hand-drawn animated intros for me? CGI is cool, don't get me wrong, but to me, hand animated intros are just so much better. And there's three things that need to be hit in order for me to be satisfied with that animated intro, okay? Music, art style, and animation. The animation being the most important thing of all. If the animation within that intro is pure garbage, where, let's say for example, you have the character's hand right here. If all of a sudden it's 3 frames of animation just to do this, that's not believable, okay? That's just unacceptable to me, okay? There has to be some fleshed out animation. I have to see some sick movement there, okay? The music itself, that plays another key role for me, because the music is what's gonna make me pumped. It's gonna make me excited about the game. I'm not too picky about the art style because not everyone has the same style in terms of character design and world design and all that, so that I can let it slide, but I still think it's a key factor to the 3 points that I mentioned. Now, from all the RPGs that I've played that had animated intros, they actually get divided into one of 2 categories. Category A being the tour, where they give a tour of all the characters in the game or the universe, the world that you're actually playing in. Then there's Category B, where it's either a recap of the main events within the RPG storyline, or they'll prep the player for what's to come within the story of the game. Another thing you'll see is that when a game gets ported from the Super Nintendo to the PlayStation during that time, you'll see that they'll just take memorable parts within the storyline and they'll make an awesome animated compilation for that game's intro. Tales of Fantasia on the PlayStation 1 being ported over from the Super Nintendo is a perfect example here. Suikoden and Tear Cries, for example, for the Nintendo DS. I think that intro is designed more to give you a tour of the characters in the world, giving you a taste of how vast that world is, and I think that's actually awesome. An example of an animated intro that recaps on the key points of the game is Chrono Trigger on the PlayStation 1 and the Nintendo DS. If you guys played the Super Nintendo version, the intro that they used was using the in-game graphics, the 2D engine. And on the PlayStation 1 and the Nintendo DS version, what they basically did was they had Akira Toriyama animated, they used the Chrono Trigger theme, Chrono Trigger, to just prep the players on what to expect in the main story of the game. It's actually going to show some of the boss battles that you're going to face, the tag team attacks that you're going to execute, the magic attacks. It's actually going to show some of the locations that you're going to visit, the time periods that you're going to visit, the characters that are going to join you, you're going to face. It's going to show off a lot of the enemies. And I think the way that the animated intro was done was perfect. And I'm a huge fan of Chrono Trigger. I think that's one of the greatest RPGs, if not the greatest RPG of all time. How they show Luca pick up the portrait and she's reminiscing of all the stuff that she went through with Chrono and company. And in my opinion, I think that that's the best animated intro ever, period, to grace any RPG. I think if an animated intro gives me goosebumps, mission accomplished. Another intro that I would say is probably top 10 for me is Wild Arms. Wild Arms, the original one on the PlayStation 1. Since we're talking about Wild Arms, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Wild Arms 2, because this one did the animated intros a little different. Now, the game was 2 discs, and what was cool about it was, let's say you're on disc 1. You start a new game, it plays the animated intro. Every time you load your game, let's say you finish, I'm done playing, I'm gonna go play tomorrow. So you wake up the next day, you load your game, it plays the animated intro. It's almost as if it's waking you up, it's hyping you. And every time I had to level up in that game, and I was like, oh man, I gotta go ahead and grind today. So I would load my game and I would see that animated intro and I would just be like, holy fuck, man, this intro, I never get tired of the intro. I can see that intro a million times in one day and not get tired of it. But it doesn't end there. Disc 2 changed the animated intro. The song was different, the intro was different. They added characters, enemies, new challenges. They recapped on the crazier challenges you're gonna face. Fucking amazing. Excuse my language. Man, I just love animated intros, man. Like, I understand that the Sega CD and the PC Engine and even on the Super Nintendo, kind of, it had animated intros, but it's not like it was on the Sega Saturn and on the PlayStation 1. Final Fantasy, Blue Dragon, Resonance of Fate, all these intros are actually CGI work, and they're cool in their own rights, but there's something about an animated intro that just, I don't know, it just gets me, you know, like, I'm an anime fan, I watch a load of anime. If the anime does not have good animation, I'm sorry, I don't care how good the story is, I'm not watching it, period, okay? And me and my brother, we do collect a lot of art books from Play Asia, and the rare art books that we can't get in Play Asia, we do try going to eBay if we can, and we really don't care how much we pay, we just get them if we love them. And seeing that hard work come to life on screen, whether it's 4x3, 16:9 format, standard def, high definition, it does not matter. That animation, seeing that, to me is magical, man. And if it's done correctly and it's memorable, it's just gonna stay in my gaming heart forever. I know that sounds corny, but that's just me, man. Like, Namco Bandai, I do appreciate that all the Tales games do have animated intros and even anime sequences within the game. And even the Ponichi software. The Ponichi software, Disgaea 2, 3, and 4, you know, the PS2 and the PS3 versions, they do have animated intros, and that's awesome. I appreciate that. You know, handheld games, like I mentioned, Suikoden and Tear Crease, that game does have an animated intro. But maybe I'm dreaming. I would love to see that more. Maybe Xbox Live or PSN. Maybe again, I'm dreaming, who knows. But what do you guys think? Do you guys appreciate hand-drawn animated intros? Or do you prefer the CGI? Or do you prefer the in-game engine telling the story within the intro? I need to know. And again, this is Zero Shinobi. Peace!